Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Fish Network. I'm your host and enlightened, excited Eddie V. Joining me is Bossman himself, the one, the only, Mr. Corey Dirrig.
Hello. I'm here again. Ed made me.
Yes, thank you for coming back. We are in the building as always.
Who's in the building?
Me and you. We're
right.
in the building.
We are. It was really scary. After our last recording, there was a really loud sound, and I had no idea what it was.
Yes.
And, it was scary. So yeah, it's fine. Just someone breaking into my house. It's fine.
Do you hate that sometimes when you hear like a weird noise, like it's like really late at night, and you know that no one's walking around the house?
Well, let me tell you, Ed, about the raccoon that's lived in my roof for like a year, and it keeps leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back, and then they catch it and then it comes back. Okay. You know how scary that crap is at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to sleep, and all of a sudden you hear scratch, 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 scratch. Or like the time there were two of them up there and they were fighting each other.
Having the Royal Rumble at that mud?
Yeah, it was, dude. They were like screaming and scratching and yelling, and it was, yeah.
Wow. Goodness, that reminds me of all the summers that the cats were fighting outside. I mean, they were literally street fighting. Like, you hear, scratch, scratch, scratch. And it's just like, it is too late at night for y'all to be. I one time just got a cup of water and threw it outside, and whoever they hit, y'all go, y'all leave.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, what we found out, this was like last summer, and that group has been, they've been gone from the premises, right? But what happened was the mom, it was a mom protecting her kids, and then another raccoon was up there with them, and she was fighting it off because she thought it was going to harm the baby raccoons. So there's like a whole family up there just chilling.
My sister in her old house, we had parked up in the front, and she was gonna get out, but there was a raccoon out there just staring at us. She's just like, Eddie, you don't go to the other side of this house and get me to my kitchen. So I literally got into her other driveway, literally went to her door so she could get in and not get with the raccoon, and she ran. And I'm like, we don't play around with raccoons, everybody. Like, we don't. I seen them at my church. The mama would stand up to make sure that her babies passed before she even left. She'd be like, y'all not gonna be touching my kids. Like, we don't mess around with raccoons at all. So to hear that, good goody movie.
Yeah. Anyways.
And then we see Rocket in that one Marvel movie, The Guardians of the Galaxy. He'd be like, oh, your egg. Right.
I'm not really a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. It was fine. Not like my favorite, but it's fine. It was okay.
The video game was good, I would say that.
Oh, the game was awesome.
Yes.
I mean, I was talking about the movies. But,
yeah. So, but everybody, our discussion for this episode is kind of going to be focusing like on Sega. And the reason why we're talking about Sega is definitely because of Atlus, helping them kind of get back to, I guess, in the black, financially, somewhat being stable. And I was talking about 2 weeks ago that Sega and Sammy were a corporation together. I'm like, oh wow. And then to know that Sega brought Atlus, I'm like, wow, that really threw us off for a loop. But they announced that Sonic Origins is coming, and it's gonna bring the first, second, third, and Sonic CD games all on one collection. The game's kind of been up-res. In each game you can play as Sonic, Knuckles, or Tails. So it's kind of like updated, emulated game and everything. And they got different tiers for the DLC, which some companies and some gamers were confused and were making fun of with it. But yeah, Sega's kind of, I guess, in a good spot in a sense. Definitely with them working with .mu for some of their games with Streets of Rage, um, Wonder Boy, Monster Land, it, you know, some of their old properties.
I mean,
not Fantasy Star, but go ahead.
They've just done a really good job of diversifying the last, I guess, decade. Because when we were talking about, we had a little bit of a discussion on the Platinum Games episode about Sega, or even the episode before that, and we were talking about how Sega was kind of like dying after the Dreamcast because they didn't really know what to do. Like they went third party. They had success as a third party platform, but their arcade business was kind of failing. The Sammy side of the Sega Sammy business was like, what are you doing? And Sega was kind of struggling, but they reinvested in themselves, right? They put out some pretty great games. I would say like Sonic Transformed is a great game. Sonic Racing Transformed is a great game. They partnered with Nintendo for the Mario Sonic Olympic games. They made a couple other games, and then they invested in Atlus, which was a really smart decision at the time because like Atlus was on the rise, but they weren't popular enough to be like, considered a JRPG great. But now you look at Shin Megami Tensei, how well 4 did on the 3DS and 5 did on the Switch. You look at how mega popular Persona is with 4 Golden and 5, right? And Catherine is kind of like a sleeper hit, and everything else that Atlus does, right? So Sega really started diversifying, and Yakuza took off, which I think a lot of people kind of forget that that's Sega also.
Yes.
They've just really done a great job of Judgment as well. I think people really like at least that first game.
Yeah.
I think Sega has done a great job diversifying, even outside of games, right? You look at the Sonic movies. Look how good those Sonic movies have done financially, let alone how good they are to watch. I was shocked at how good that first Sonic movie was. Like, I watched Detective Pikachu. I was like, okay, this is fine. Like, it's a video game movie. It was better than I thought it was going to be. But Sonic is like legitimately a fun kids movie, right? And Jim Carrey is so good as Robotnik, and Ben Schwartz as Sonic is great.
Yes.
So Sega seems to have really done a great job diversifying. I think they just need like their diversification, that's a word, right, is kind of raw a little bit. Like I feel like they are taking some characters one way, they're taking some of their stuff the other way. Right? Like we talk about how Persona has been exclusive to PlayStation. But Shin Megami Tensei is pretty exclusive to Nintendo. And then you look at Sonic, and that's kind of like Sonic Frontiers is coming to everything with their lead platform is Nintendo. But then you look at their relationship with Microsoft, and like they're going to make those super games, right? With I guess the rumor is that Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi are going to be the first kind of experiments with this technology, which would be cool. Like a really large scale Crazy Taxi on the scale of like a, not like the same type of game, but like on a GTA city scale, right? Like a crazy, like a taxi driving game. That'd be kind of cool with like an ever changing world and a growing world and, that kind of stuff. I think that would be kind of interesting. Or like a Jet Set Radio, kind of like an open world. Let's take on some tasks over here and whatever, right? Like, I think that would be really neat to see. So they've got good relationships with everybody. Sometimes it feels confusing, especially the Atlus side of things, where they kind of partner with one company here and then like I guess like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are the confusing ones, right? Because Shin Megami Tensei usually stays on Nintendo for a while, if not exclusively. Persona is the spin-off game, but Persona is on PlayStation only, except for the spin-off Persona games, which come to everything. And it's like, oh man, this is just kind of right. Where are we at here?
Because Persona Q is the only other Persona game which was on 3DS, I believe.
Yeah.
And
I think the first one is on DS and the second one's on 3DS.
3DS. And then they have the Persona 5, like Mitsuge. Strikers, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is a direct sequel to 5, so like if you play that on Switch, you're like half the story is missing, you know?
Right. Because you got Persona 5 and Persona Royal on PlayStation 4. You know, and I will say this: Shin Megami Tensei did start on the Super Nintendo, but it's mostly Super Famicom in Japan. It didn't come over here until PlayStation 2, I believe.
Yeah, PS2.
Yeah, because it was Shin Megami Tensei Revelations Persona for PS1. And the reason I know that because I had that game, I rented it. And then like it started getting kind of their own thing, and it was like the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games. Yeah, they were on PlayStation, but all of Atlus other games was literally on handheld on 3DS. And when you talk about limited run games or a limited amount of games, those games were limited on how many copies going to be released. So if you found out that the store was getting it, you needed to go out and buy it on day one, because if not, you weren't going to get another copy. And I think it was until like the eShop and like digital sales and stuff that a lot of their games, when it came out on there, people were able to buy them because they were making good sales. It was just still low key. Like a lot of people didn't know about Atlus until, like you said, like Persona, in the sense Persona 4. I said Persona Persona 3 Fest was getting that recognition about Atlus, but it still wasn't up there until Golden came out, because more people was talking about Golden everywhere with Persona 4 Golden. And then just bam, it blew out the water with Atlus. So Atlus is one of those game companies that's just like, we're known for this. We're still niche, but man, we just got popular over the years. The same thing with Sega. When Sega, everybody remember Sega for what Sega does, Nintendo and stuff. And then you end up finding that Sega's publishing games on Nintendo's platform. But Sonic the Hedgehog on GameCube did numbers. And a lot of those Sonic games, because the Sonic community was still big, they were biting on Nintendo platforms. True. The All-Star Racing Transform. People were playing that on Wii U and everything. Even Sonic Heroes and just a lot of stuff that Sega was doing. Like, even if you look at Sonic and Mario at the Olympics, that game did numbers for both versions.
Yeah. Well, and then you gotta remember that Sega, like, they also own, like, what do they own? They own Relic, which does like the Total War series, and they partnered with Microsoft to do Halo Wars 2, and like, I mean, that's they own so many great studios that, like, it's hard to remember that, like, Sega is owns some of these studios, like, I mean, they own Climax Studio Entertainment as well. Like, it's just Sega. I mean, Visual Concepts. You talk about a studio that used to do great sports games, right? And
yeah.
Now I think they still do a lot of design work for Sega, right? They didn't close Visual Concepts, did they?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Because I think Visual Concepts become 2K? games.
I mean, did they? I don't think. Yeah. Did they? Yeah, because they do. Yeah, you're right. They do the 2K basketball games, but Sega
Yeah.
sold them. But I mean,
Okay.
uh,
But if you was looking for NFL and NBA, like definitely on Dreamcast, you were
yeah.
getting those games,
Mm-hmm.
visual
Yeah.
concepts.
I mean, that's where I still keep thinking of them from is like the Dreamcast. I can very vividly see that splash screen, the black screen with like the white kind of 3D pyramid, upside down
Yeah.
pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So,
Because I beat in NBA 2K, like the first one. I beat that on Dreamcast. Man, that was, and I played the Blazers on that
yeah.
game. uh and so it's, Sega kind of, Sega had some downtime, but it, they were still making games like Virtual Fighter. That was like Sony exclusive.
Yeah.
For a long time. Um, they tried that Go to Next game, and that didn't.
Well,
That was a disaster in a sense.
I mean, remember when the Dreamcast died, they were like experimenting with partnerships with everybody, right? Like
Hmm.
the Sonic Adventure games came to GameCube exclusively, but then Crazy Taxi 3 and Shenmue 2 were on the original Xbox exclusively,
Yeah.
right? And like I remember I got the Xbox bundle with Sega GT in it, which was really weird.
They had a Toki,
Yeah.
which is a new IP that was on
Mm-hmm.
the Xbox, the
Well,
first one.
yeah, and I remember getting Jet Set Radio, what was the second one? Jet Set Radio Future was the second
Yes.
one, right? So
Yes.
I had that on the original Xbox, and because like when I bought my Xbox, it was a bundle of Halo, Sega GT 2002, and Jet Set Radio Future were the three games I got with my original Xbox. Um, and I remember, man, dude, the Dreamcast. Can we just talk about the Dreamcast for a second? How
Yeah.
great that console was. I
You
really loved my Dreamcast, man.
say.
I probably had like 20 games for it. I think I was one of the 12 people who actually bought their games legit for Dreamcast.
I did too.
I mean, you talk about like the absurd like Blue Stinger and like so for people who don't know, Blue Stinger was Sega and Activision's kind of play at Resident Evil, right? It was a survival horror game, but the concept was so ridiculous and the color palette was so not scary. It just like and the tone of the character voice acting was so comical. It was so comical that like you could never be scared in this game even if you tried to be scared. Like the whole game, like you're this kind of for the lack of better terms, he's like a Coast Guard guy, right? Like he's going on vacation to Dinosaur Island, right? Which is supposedly an island created by the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, right? And so, but this island, there's like a science lab on this island, and they're experimenting, and this bubble kind of explodes on the island or whatever. And first of all, the ship gets frozen halfway in and out of the bubble, right? Like, so that's ridiculous. He gets trapped on this island with a character named Dogs Bauer, who has he's like this kind of like fat ex-military guy, but he drives a boat. Like he's like a ferry boat driver now, but he has like the shortest shorts on, this bandana, and like a beer gut, right, and this huge beard. And so you go on this adventure to try to figure out what happened to the island, and it takes place at Christmas time also. So there's Christmas lights everywhere, Santa ads everywhere. There's one point where like you have to wear a Santa suit to get special abilities to get past part of the game, and it's super ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite things to watch and rewatch is Game Informer's super replay of Blue Stinger. I highly recommend you go watch that.
I have to watch it.
It's so funny. Like even I think that's why I kind of assume it's funny. Like I played through it and it was funny when I played it, but like it's extremely funny watching other people play it. So, but yeah, man, Blue Stinger, what a game. And like the way you got energy, or health, were these energy drinks called Hassie, and like there's this whole Blue Stinger kind of universe, like video game cinematic universe, and it's Blue Stinger, it's Illbleed, which is like a weird haunted house game, and if you beat the game, dude, if you beat that game 100%, you get to play through the whole game as the protagonist, like naked, butt naked almost. I think like it's like this really weird thing.
You were crap with fear, but it actually used the S word.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I want to see what this.
Definitely Resident Evil Veronica was a big thing on Dreamcast. Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Man, someone just found out about Power Stones. Like they was playing it on the Dreamcast. They were just like, why nobody ever tell me? I'm like, we've been telling people about Power Stones. Where you been at? Definitely for me, it's still Street Fighter Third Strike. Oh, that was just so good on Dreamcast. Like I studied and learned that game. The VMU that you used to put into your controller.
Hassie's a real drink. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, go ahead.
It's a Japanese made energy drink called Hassie. It's a real drink, and it's also in the 2015 point and click adventure game 2064 Read Only Memories. Huh. So I was trying to figure out like what the other game in the series was, but it's only listing Illbleed and Blue Stinger. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
Well, there's Carrier. I think that was on Dreamcast. I know they had Virtual Cop on there, which was like the play. I think that was supposed to be like Die Hard, like that beat 'em up game. Die Hard the movie. Of course, you got Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 on Dreamcast.
Shenmue,
yeah.
That was a big deal.
And man, that really hurt. That game literally hurt Sega. Like it almost bankrupted the whole company.
Yeah, well, I mean, it didn't sell well. It was not a very good game. It was just like this really interesting experiment. That obviously Yakuza is kind of like the spiritual successor to Shenmue, but with combat, right? It's like this kind of dense open world that only takes place within a few blocks, right? But like you can kind of interact with a lot and do a lot and talk to everybody and stuff like that. And Shenmue was that, and it almost did Sega in, that. Yeah. And like, I mean, after the Genesis, seriously, Sega was kind of in trouble, right? Because they made all these weird attachments for the Genesis that never took off. Sega TV never took off. They kind of stealth released the Saturn, which was like,
a nightmare.
Their Wii U situation where like, what is this? Why is Sega selling us a new box when they just put out a 32X cartridge thing in the Sega CD? And then when they put the Dreamcast out, people didn't buy it because they were waiting for the PlayStation 2, right? Which promised all these things like a DVD player and online functionality, which granted, the Dreamcast had online functionality, which was way ahead of their time.
Yes.
Phantasy Star Online was like the big one.
Yeah. Super big.
But everybody was waiting on the PS2, and so I remember it was maybe a year after the Dreamcast came out, they announced that they were discontinuing it.
Yeah, discontinuing it, and then like a few months after that, they said they was going third party.
Yeah,
and I think their first game that they put out was that Sonic game that was on GameCube.
I mean, I think that was the first game on GameCube itself, but they started releasing a lot. Crazy Taxi was on GameCube. They ended up releasing a version of Phantasy Star Online for GameCube, which was interesting. And Billy Hatcher was like another kind of exclusive.
I love Billy Hatcher.
Super Monkey Ball was a huge game on GameCube. Like all three of those games were pretty big. They put Soul Calibur 2. I mean, I know that's not Sega proper, but like Soul Calibur is really associated with Dreamcast, and the fact that the GameCube version was like the version to have because it had Link in it was like, that was really cool as a Nintendo fan back then. Yeah, we finally got a third-party game everybody wants.
Then definitely down the line, Sega has been releasing. They've been releasing more games that's been on the Genesis, and really no other platform and everything. And if you look at Nintendo Switch Online, that they got the Genesis. I mean, they still sell the Sega Genesis collection on the eShop, but then you got like Genesis games coming onto the eShop and everything. So and we'll probably get some more stuff because definitely with not importing, but some games that was released in Japan that never came here. It for the Mega Drive, because that's what it's called in Japan and Europe. They still have a chance to show up, and it really shows how rich Sega's history was. I remember my brother getting his Sega Genesis, and the first game he got was Michael Jackson Moonwalker. And it was way different than the arcade version. I beat it before he did. We both beat Alter Beast, because that was like, I think their last packing game in a sense was Alter Beast when the Sega Genesis came out. But I remember playing it, and then Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Ghouls and Ghosts, Forgotten Worlds, like a whole bunch of stuff. Shinobi 3, just a gamut of games for the Sega Genesis. And then the Sega CD came out, and then that changed. One of the most popular games on Sega CD was kind of like the Make My Video series, where like Mark Wahlberg and Chris Cross. Night Trap was on there, like the FMV stuff. Like I said, Sega got a big history of games.
Yeah, I mean, if you even want to go back to like the Master System, and
I had one that had that too.
I mean, you go back to the Master System, and then they released the Genesis 2 years before the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
and then they relaunched the Genesis with Sonic as the pack-in game. Like,
yep.
The Genesis was out 2 years before the Super Nintendo, and they didn't have any games for it. And so, like, they I don't think they redesigned it right away, but they were working on a redesign. And then you had, like, the third iteration of Genesis, which was super tiny, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had the Nomad, which was kind of like the Switch at the time, right? If you had a Genesis and a Nomad, you were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can take my Genesis on the go. Yeah, I mean, so I'm wondering if, since they put the Genesis Online stuff on Nintendo Switch, I wonder if they're going to try for a Dreamcast kind of thing or a Master System kind of thing. God, dude, that box for the Master System, like, joystick pad thing. For, like, they've been selling the controllers. Like, that box is going to be huge.
Oh, heck yeah.
God, dude, this Master System is so ugly, though.
It's a particular taste. I say my brother, he had 2 of them. One of them broke on him because it started working games. It stopped, kind of working. Then so he got like another one. And this was the one that for anyone who look at the Master System, take a look at it. It's kind of more of a triangular kind of design in a sense. At the top, you would be able to put your cartridge in, but you also had a card-based part of it where you could put cards in, like the TurboGrafx. Because my brother, he had games like My Hero and Ghost House. And those was card games. But then he had like Master Boy and we had Double Dragon, which was more of the arcade version on the Master System. We had Gangster Town, um, which was a light gun gang and everything. And I think I told you this, that my brother's light gun kind of got jacked or it messed up.
Yeah, I
So
think we
we
had
had to,
this conversation at some
yeah,
point.
I had to turn it upside down to shoot it.
Yeah.
But because I was playing Gangster Town, that was one of their card games
Gangster
and
Town.
everything. You know, but like their racing game, Hang On and Outrun, like man, those was classics during the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's um, and I still love My Hero.
Yeah. I played a lot of Genesis. I mean, people who've been listening to us for a while, right? Like, know that I kind of missed the Super Nintendo generation, and I had a Genesis, and that's what I had, and I had a ton of games for Genesis, right? Like, I obviously had all the Sonic games, but I had like Rocket Knight Adventures, which was a Konami,
Yes,
a great
I did
Konami platformer, and then Hyperstone Heist, which was like
Yep.
Genesis version of Turtles in Time, and
I cannot wait to play Harvest Heist with you
I
on Switch
know.
Online.
It's like it's one of 3 games that has online play apparently.
Right.
God, why don't the other games have online play?
I have not one idea.
Like, you don't think the NES games would be fun co-op? At least the 2 and 3, like that would be awesome. Or Turtles in Time. God forbid the Super Nintendo version has online play. I'm so excited, but we're talking about Genesis games, right?
Genesis, yeah.
I mean, Jurassic Park, which was different, right? It had two full campaigns. One is Dr. Grant, and one is of Raptor for some reason, which was not a great version of that game, but it's still great, fun. Power Rangers. Turtles Tournament Fighter. I'm just trying to go through the list in my head of Genesis games.
I would actually say I prefer Power Rangers on Sega Genesis over that Super Nintendo one. The Super Nintendo one was clean and everything, but like something about that Genesis version really gave that beat 'em up genre its due, you know.
Yeah. Obviously, like Mortal Kombat was preferred on Genesis. I played a lot of Joe Montana football, which
Same here.
I mean, dude, all you had to do was run a fake punt and do a spin move all the way down the field, and then you scored every time. Pro tip for Joe Montana football '94.
I didn't like the second one.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I was young and I didn't know any better at the time, you know. So I mean, Genesis had some bangers. Gunstar Heroes.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think of what I had. A lot of people like Toe Jam and Earl. I don't.
The Comic Zone was just hard as ever. The X-Men game was interesting.
Oh, the X-Men game where you had to like reset the console as part of the gameplay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awful. I don't know whose idea that was, but I didn't figure that out until like years later.
I definitely know Aeroflash was my game. I love Aeroflash and Castle of Illusion with Mickey Mouse.
Oh, Castle Illusion was awesome.
You know, I didn't know that you had to play on a harder difficulty to beat that game, because I beat it on easy and they'd be like, okay, you know what to do. Now I played on a harder difficulty, and then you played on a harder difficulty, and they changed like the whole game. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Although I do think the Mickey Mouse game on Super Nintendo, what was it? The Mickey's Magical Quest or something on Super Nintendo was the superior game, but it was still like Castle of Illusion. Awesome. And they remade it. Remember when they remade it?
Yes.
For
I do.
What console was that? The Xbox. So Sorry, I'm trying to look at this. I have the Sega collection pulled up on my Switch, trying to figure out, like, see if I missed anything. So if you want to rant a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely, and we talked a little bit, and we're gonna get back into Master System and Sega in general with Atlus, and kind of their future. But like the Saturn, we brought it up and everything. People had I think the R4 cart or something like that. It's like something that you was able to put into your Saturn and play Japanese games. So you could import it, put that cart in, and like boot it up and play it. But I remember Knights was a big thing on the Sega Saturn. Panzer Dragoon was
Well,
huge.
Knights was a big thing because it came with that controller, which kind of looked like a Dreamcast controller. To be honest with you, the early prototype. But I had that controller. I actually just sold Knights with the controller for like. Remember when I was kind of like cleaning out, I got rid of a lot of Saturn stuff because I don't care about the Sega Saturn. But I got rid of Knights with the controller for like $100 pre-pandemic because I wanted a Series X, so I was selling a bunch of stuff that I didn't care about. But I kept all my Genesis and Dreamcast stuff, except for Illbleed because it was $140, and I was like, well, I'm never going to play Illbleed again, and I would like $140, please. So, Illbleed is weird, dude. I'm sorry. Not to go back to that game, but...
They had D on Sega Saturn, I think.
Well, Sega Saturn was when you really started seeing, like... I mean, I know the PlayStation took off, but that was like... They had a lot of games that were known for on PlayStation on the Saturn, right? Like Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 Tomb Raider games were on Sega Saturn. Which is actually where I played the first 2 Tomb Raider games, was on Sega Saturn. And it was still the place for racing games, right? Like Sega Rally and what was the other racing game that Sega put out? They had a really weird version of SimCity 2000 that I had. They had I played Hook on the Sega Saturn, I think. Was it on the Sega Saturn or was that Sega CD? I kind of get those I kind of get those libraries mixed up sometimes, but man, Sega Saturn was a weird console. Remember that big slot in the back for like a quote unquote memory card, but it was like as big as a Genesis cartridge?
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, you would put like that R4 card or whatever into it to play import games, because like people were playing, I think, Darkstalkers, and I think Marvel vs. Capcom was on Saturn.
I think it was the first one was on Saturn, and then they ported it to Dreamcast after.
Yeah, for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Yeah, they did for the Dreamcast.
I think the original Marvel vs. Capcom was on Dreamcast also. Was it not?
Ooh.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
That game has, outside of Smash Brothers, I think that is probably one of the hugest fighting games still to this day.
Yeah, I'm trying to look the original Marvel vs. Capcom
with Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat 2 battling it out.
Talk about a series that needs to come back. Is Marvel vs. Capcom, like old Marvel vs. Capcom, not whatever they just put out. What was it? Infinite, I think it was called.
Yeah, whatever that.
Marvel vs. Capcom. I guess I could put 1. They did do Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which was like a HD version of 1. But then, like, remember, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom is often looked at. No, you know what it was? Marvel vs. Capcom came out on Genesis, or it came out on Dreamcast, but the Saturn version was X-Men versus Street Fighter.
That's it. Yes, that was it. Yes.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
It's Mishka. Maybe she died. Maybe that was it. Oh no. Yes.
Okay.
That was weird.
Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, X-Men versus Street Fighter. That was it for Saturn.
Yeah. And that was a cool game. That was a really cool game. Like,
yes.
I mean, it was obviously like the first steps of what would become Marvel vs. Capcom, but man.
Yeah. Dude, Soul Reaver on Dreamcast, man. I played that. I missed that series.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to come back at some point. There's a lot of kind of fingers pointing that it might be in pre-production somewhere, but I'm not sure.
Is it a Crystal Dynamics?
I mean, Crystal Dynamics owns the IP, so technically Square owns the IP, I guess.
Because I was reading something about Amy Hennig was part of that series.
That was her first. She created the series, and then she left to go to Naughty Dog to work on Uncharted.
Yeah. Because it wasn't Soul Reaver, but it was goodness, what is that vampire game? Because it was
Blood
top down.
Rain? Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, which was still Legacy of Kain.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain. Yeah, the first one, because I had that on PlayStation 1.
Let's see. It's like Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, and Soul Reaver are all kind of like the same franchise, right?
Yeah.
So those are all like, I don't know how they fit together because I never really played them.
Soul Reaver is like the spin-off of Legacy of Kain. And I know it became, if anyone just think of Darksiders, that's how that game was. But it was really good, like the really good story, great gameplay. I think I just missed it because I played it. Every day when I got out of school, I was playing that game on my Dreamcast.
Yeah, Dreamcast is cool, man. I mean, I know we were kind of supposed to be talking about Sega in general, but like, we kind of took this deep dive. Do you think Sega's going to do something with Dreamcast? Because like, it's like the GameCube, where a lot of games are kind of stranded there. Like a lot of games are kind of like, well, what do we do with these, right? Like, I mean, I know that that Xbox Live Arcade had a few Dreamcast HD ports, right? Like they had Crazy Taxi, Jet Grind Radio, I think was one for a little bit, although I think they had some musical rights issues.
Yeah, they did.
Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I think, were HD-ified. What's happening in there? Oh, it's my son. Sana put him down to go to the bathroom. Sorry, there's a lot of sounds in this house tonight. Anyways, do you think they're going to do anything with Dreamcast stuff? Like,
I think they're definitely going to get it on Switch Online. I think that's going to be the expansion pass.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their Sega stuff, if you want it, and I think I have a feeling like every year and a half or something, or maybe every year, they'll add another system to it. As for the rising cost for it, I think they would keep it at $50, and they would just add to it.
I don't think they can do higher than $50. People are already complaining that it's too much, which I don't really know why, to be honest with you. I think $50 is kind of a steal with what you're getting at this point.
Yeah, and it's like a one-time payment. It's nothing that you're doing every year.
Well,
I mean, every month, I should say.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just say every
it's
month.
once a year, $50, right? It's like, I don't know. People, you get less for PlayStation Plus, and people pay for that. So that's no offense, but PlayStation Plus kind of isn't great. I mean, not that Nintendo online multiplayer stuff is great either, but their offerings are at least pretty hefty. So I mean, I'm waiting for. So if they released a Dreamcast on expansion pass, I would be ecstatic. Or expansion pack, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All these pass pack.
I would want them to do Dreamcast and before they do Saturn or anything.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have the affinity for Saturn, right? I mean,
yeah.
What games do people like on Saturn? Panzer Dragoon, which they remade.
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon, which they remade, got average scores. We talked about Knights. I will say I would love, even though this is a treasure game, Radiant Silvergun, I would love to play. Because I never got to try that game, and it's like this. It was the beginning before Ikaruga was made and everything. So, and then there's just some weird There's like a weird Japanese wrestling game. Like there's some weirdness to Saturn, but they kind of a stall. There's like some 2D games that was on there that was good too. And you know what? I would love to try the Tomb Raider games on Saturn because I only played the PlayStation ones. I never got to play the Saturn
ones. It's
ones.
exactly the same. You don't need to play them. So yeah, I think adding Dreamcast to expansion. I think what they should do is like GameCube and Dreamcast would be awesome. I would love to see Dreamcast. Plus, like, having a wireless version of that controller would be super useful because I mean, just remember, like, just the way the VMUs had to be, the wire was coming out of the bottom of the controller, which was super just terrible design. But the VMUs, it is what it is. I guess you could have put the VMUs in the bottom, probably could have been a better design, but
and plus, since you got House of the Dead and Virtual Cop on Dreamcast, you could literally use the Joy-Con.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy the controllers to play the expansion pass games, but like, let's be honest, it would really help. I mean, remember when I tried to play Super Mario Brothers and Mario 3 for something we were doing, and the buttons were all weird because I wasn't playing with an NES controller, and I died like 4 times in a row because I pressed the wrong button to jump.
Yep.
God, just something about these controllers, man. Just anyways, what were we talking about? Dreamcast with NSO. I don't know. I mean, let's kind of talk about where Sega is now. Like, I mean, we talked about where they were, kind of their fall and rise. Like, let's look at where they're at now, right? I mean, they have Sonic Frontiers coming out, which looks cool. I will play it because I like Sonic. I'm one of those people. Sorry, guys. I'm a Sonic 1 guy, though. I think Sonic 1 is the best. It's just... I mean, there's no spin move. There's no sidekick to mess you up, right? It's just pure, like, let's run, let's go, let's see what happens. If you die, you die, you know?
Definitely for me is to add in the corkscrews with the runs, shorten the levels to only 2 per zone. It was easier to get the Chaos Emeralds because I love the just phenomenal soundtrack. That sound when it comes to Sega Genesis, of course I always go to Streets of Rage 2, but Sonic 2 soundtrack is a banger. Like, I think once you get to like the Green Hill Zone Eric song is good, but literally when you get to Chemical Zone and go through all of that, man, they're just like on hit. They were literally on fire, and I'm like, ooh, okay, Sega, y'all you give Nintendo a run for its money with the soundtrack because y'all got some cuts on here. You know, I really didn't mind Tales, and everything.
I mean, it's not that I dislike Tales. Like Sonic 2 was fun. I'm not a Sonic 3 guy at all. I know a lot of people think that that's the best one. I'm not a Sonic 3 guy at all.
I haven't finished it. I played the first level when they're in the woods, and then it ends up catching fire, and it was just that was the weird thing about Sega with the Genesis games. When it kind of got to the third game in the series, it wasn't up to snuff, because that happened with Streets of Rage 3, which is like, what is this game? Like this.
I mean, that happens now too, though, right? Like a lot of people always think the second game is the best, and the third game just kind of whatever, you know. But like Sega is, they're trajecting up, and it's good to see. I still think a good Sega, a healthy Sega, is good for the industry, right? I think Yakuza has kind of hit its stride now, right? Especially with like a dragon, right? Like I think a lot of people love that game. Sonic Frontiers, I hope is I don't know. We kind of had this conversation the other day too, where like the best parts of Sonic, or maybe I heard it on a podcast or something, but the best part of Sonic is like going fast in an obstacle course type level, and memorizing the obstacle course and not the enemies, right? Because like when you have to slow down in Sonic, that's when the game becomes bad, because like the platforming is like, the slow platforming is super floaty. He slides, right? Like it's not ideal. And okay, so we were talking about this on PAL Block is where we were talking about this, because you said which IP would benefit from Nintendo's kind of thing, and you said making a good Sonic platformer. That's what we talked about.
Yes.
But Sonic I think Sonic is important. I think I think the industry needs to figure out how to make a good Sonic game, because they've figured it out everywhere else, right? Cartoons, comics, the movies are great. I hope that Sonic Frontiers is a new kind of beginning for Sonic. I hope Sonic Origins does well. I highly recommend everybody play Sonic Mania, actually, if you haven't played it.
Really good game. I think it's $9.99 on the eShop still.
Yeah, and download the DLC. It's $5. It's worth it. You get 2 extra characters and a bunch of extra levels. Sonic Mania is a great place to start. Sonic Origins is going to be a great place to start in June. I want more Sega. I am still a Sega kid at heart, even though I love Nintendo, don't get me wrong, but like my 2D childhood revolved around Sega, right? And so I will always be rooting for them in some way, you know?
Right. And I've never, personally for me, I've never been a hater of Sega. You know, I know back in the 80s and a little bit of the 90s, people would say Nintendo versus Sega, but because I have my brother who was the Sega kid, I got my Sega experience from him, and I played a lot of Sega games in the arcade, because Nintendo didn't really have a presence for arcade games. Sega did, like Moonwalker, Alter Beast, Golden Axe, like Outrun, Hang On, like a lot of Virtual Fighter, a lot of stuff that Sega had produced and made, a lot of that began in the arcade before it even came to the home console. And I was playing all of it as much as I could.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Sega did a lot of things to kind of scare Nintendo. And I actually think that's why Super Nintendo ended up being so good in terms of like games that they were putting out. I mean, granted, Nintendo had a lot of great third-party support too, right? Like with Squaresoft, especially at that point, and Sega didn't really have a lot of great support. I mean, they had Capcom with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Konami stuff, but like they didn't have the Square RPGs. They didn't have the kind of the they had the sports games, so I'll give them that. They had the sports games.
Yes.
But Sega was kind of relying on support from Konami and Capcom, and it was very limited compared to what Nintendo was getting from them.
And during that time, even before Capcom hopped on, Sega had to like get the license to reprogram, and they had to reprogram those games to even run on the Genesis because Capcom wasn't doing it.
Yeah, I mean they paid for that, and they it. Don't get me wrong, like Street Fighter on the Genesis with the 6-button controller is probably better than the Super Nintendo, but like everyone had a Super Nintendo, and everybody wanted Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Hyper Fighting and whatever else came out after that, right? And so Sega kind of got the short end of the stick there because they only got one version of Street Fighter, and it wasn't the Turbo version.
And Sega is, and this is not a knock to Sega or anything with the ratings board and everything, but when like Mortal Kombat came out and that was a big game on the Genesis, that's when they started implementing their own ratings. And then
you were getting there. Sorry, I was going to say Sega started doing rating systems before the ESRB even existed. Like they started implementing their own rating system, which was smart for them.
Right. I think their team was like MA13, and then the mature stuff was MA17. Like they were putting out their own, making sure that parents will understand that this is what you're getting out of the game, and they had their own ratings before all of that stuff started happening in the ESRB came into play.
Right.
So like, I know, and we're gonna get close to this, but to look at Sega's future and stuff, is there from where they started at to when they were having financial troubles, because they were making some good games, but they weren't doing the numbers like they should have done, And when they got out of the console business, and a little bit out of the arcade business, they had to rely on doing other business deals and putting their games on other platforms. And over time, it worked. Sonic has been one of their leading games as a series that have kept them in the black. And no matter how bad the game was, like I said, Sonic has a huge community. And they were making those games go to 1 million sales. You talked about Sonic, in other media. That Sonic anime cartoon that was like on for here, it was like Fox Kids or something.
Yeah,
that was a big, huge thing for kids to come in to buy Sonic. If you didn't, people don't realize that BioWare made a Sonic game on 3DS.
Yeah,
or on DS, and that was questionable content at that time. But to see that this company who made Mass Effect made a Sonic game,
Sonic RPG, which is hilarious.
Right, but a lot of even the Sonic games on DS or in Game Boy Advance, some of their handheld Sega Sonic games were really good on Nintendo.
I think a lot of people like Sonic Advance and Sonic Advance 2.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. The Wii U got 2 exclusive Sonic games, remember?
Yes.
Sonic, Lost World, and then Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Which was based off the cartoon, which Lost World was okay, but Sonic Boom was, I really liked the designs of the characters in Sonic Boom, though. I'll give them that. Like, I thought the designs were cool. I thought the idea of Sonic Boom was interesting, where, like, each character kind of had their own unique skill set to make it through parts of the level. Like, that's a cool idea, but they just didn't execute it very well.
And I would say for Lost World, they had some beautiful level design environments. Very artistic.
Yeah, it's a pretty game, but like it's still a 3D Sonic game, which they never really nailed after Sonic Adventure 1, to be quite honest. I mean,
which is weird.
You could even go back to Sonic Adventure, and like, I think a lot of reason why people still like that game is because of nostalgia, not necessarily because the game was good.
Right. But then you got like Sonic Colors that came to Wii that people enjoyed.
It's on
Sonic
Switch now, too.
Um,
Sonic Colors is on Switch now. No. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. I wish Sonic Generation was coming to Switch. Because I felt that one was a really good game. Now, Sonic 2006.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not.
But like it was Sonic at a time keeping them afloat, and you know they had their other games and everything, and a little of the other business. But like Sonic was the leading, and still to this day, still their leading mascot, their leading franchise for them, and to see how Atlus is helping them, you know, with great sales, and them with Sammy Corporation, and they're kind of on a good trajectory of, you know, maintaining of being around in a Japanese company. You know, it's always been rumored, and I know we talked a lot about Microsoft, but everybody feels like Microsoft is going to buy Sega, which wouldn't be bad. They'll be getting some really great first party games from Sega.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Sega got to make finally get to make Ever Oasis a viable Zelda killer.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yeah.
I mean, remember whenever Oasis came out and they were kind of marketing it towards the Zelda players, and it just was like, I get what you're trying to do, but it's just different enough to like, what are you doing? You know, I mean, it didn't go all the way one way, and then it didn't go all the way to copy. It was like that weird kind of in between where they're like, we got to do something different, but did you? Because it's not working.
But this is the thing about it, because Working Designs later on became the art. Working Designs was Sega Squaresoft.
Yeah, but like, I mean, they have What frustrates me right now about Sega is like, yeah, they have Yakuza, they have Sonic, they have Atlus, which is killing it with RPGs and stuff, but like, they have other IP that they could revive and be great. Like, where is Gunstar Heroes? Where's like a co-op third person, like cartoony action style, like we just talked about Vanquish on the Platinum episode. Like, you could make a co-op Vanquish style game with Gunstar Heroes, or you could make like where is a Phantasy Star 5?
Okay.
Or if they just came out and made Phantasy Star 5. Like, I get Phantasy Star Online is like a big deal right now. But, like, if you came out with a big budget Phantasy Star 5, right, or a Ever Oasis reboot in it with a huge 3D open world, right, or
they own one of the best RPG developers. You got Atlus. They could go in and make Atlus Ever Oasis, Atlus Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
Now the animation would be different, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But I'm like, you got a developer who could, trust me, that the coins that would come to Sega would be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as Sega is doing, I think they have more to offer, and I would like to see them try to do something with it.
I will say this, and I wouldn't even care if Phantasy Star didn't show up on Switch. I will say this: Microsoft funds Sega to get Phantasy Star 5 on your platform, because I feel like that is a fitting RPG that system really needs, and I think you would definitely. And that game don't need to be on Game Pass. Let people go and buy it and look at the sales for that game, because I would buy that game on Series X if they did a Phantasy Star 5.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Sega's kind of list of games that have come out recently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not really. I mean, there's some, right? Like Sekiro Wars and Phantasy Star New Genesis and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Virtual Fighter Ultimate Showdown, Super Monkey Ball, that HD collection.
Yeah.
Lost Judgment, Football Manager, Total War, Warhammer 3, Sonic Origins, 2 Point Campus is coming, Company of Heroes is coming.
That is Sega.
What is Endless Dungeon? That's a Sega game, apparently. I want to know what this is because I have no idea. Can you just take me to the game? I just want to know what it is. Discover
like a mobile game.
Discover Amplitude's latest roguelite Okay, I'm out. It said roguelite, so I'm out. It's a roguelite tactics game.
Okay, great.
So, anyways.
Yeah, but I can see good things happening for Sega.
Another game that they should put a sequel out for is Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
I totally forgot that was Sega.
Can I tell you, I was actually confused about that. I actually thought that was a Square Enix title.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like one. I forgot that Sega owned Vanquish. We just talked about Vanquish on Platinum. I forgot that Sega owned it. So I'm looking at their brands that they are kind of currently managing. Yeah, it says nothing about like Alter Beast or anything. Alien Isolation, Bayonetta, Company of Heroes,
I forgot Alien Isolation.
Endless Dungeon, Endless Space, Football Manager, Hatsune Miku, Humankind, Shenmue, Sonic, Total War, 2 Point, Valkyria Chronicles, Vanquish, and Yakuza.
So, a question about the Alien franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what their contract is.
What do you mean?
Because anyone who makes an Alien game, I think, has to go through Sega.
That's not entirely true. I mean, it used to be, but I think their contract is up.
Because Alien's Isolation was I believe, the last one. I need to play it on Switch. But like a lot of Aliens games, Sega is the publisher of that.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Sega still has the Alien. Yeah. And yeah. Sega. You're right.
Which is funny because Wave 4 did the DS one that a lot of people like.
Yeah. So. Well, Ed, do we have anything else to say about Sega?
I'm glad that they're around. I want to see what their future holds. I will say this: they're doing great business with .mu, giving them some of their old titles and making new versions or releasing more games. Like Streets of Rage 4 is a great game. Don't like the soundtrack, but the fighting in that game and the combos is really good, and the game looks beautiful in motion and everything. And so I could see more of their games being done by .mu and everything. And hopefully Sonic Frontiers be a new experience or evolution for the Sonic games, because I really want to play. I want to see what they got for it.
Yeah. Real quick, Ed, I'm going to read off our Patreon producers because we did not do that at the beginning of the show. Sorry, guys. It's supposed to be at the beginning. It's fine. Remember, for $1, you can get 4 of our shows early. But if you are a $5 tier subscriber, you're subscribing at the producer tier, which means you get your name shouted out on this here program. I'd like to thank Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, and my wife, Sonic Dirrig. So Thank you for your support here on the Boss Rush Network. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you lower tier subscribers as well, and we also appreciate our listeners who are listening on free feeds. Remember, all of our content is free. You can just get it early and get special perks if you are a Patreon subscriber. So thank you, everybody who listens. And if you listen on iTunes or Spotify, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps.
Yes. Well, Corey, where can we find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find me places. You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on the Boss Rush Podcast, Nintendo Power Block, and Standard Definition.
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBretcherCode and at Instagram at ThatBretcherCode. You can check out Nintendo Power Block on Mondays live, or you can check us out on Wednesdays on our YouTube channel and bossrush.net, and also check us out on podcast service of your choice, definitely Anchor FM. You can also catch me on some 1v1s and other podcasts here at Boss Rush, and some of my writings and reviews and everything. But with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you next time on Nintendo Expression Pass. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.